who do you call or relate to as a friend or when you need advice? Who do you call?
John K. Jenkins Sr.,
Huh.
for sure. One of the wisest men I ever known. And I don't even know how he does it with all the things he does. I've rarely have I ever called him and he at least didn't say, hey, can I call you right back? Right? So he's one of the people I go to. Strangely enough, so to some people who lead organizations, I go to my team. The people who work for me, I think are some of the smartest people in the world. So every level of my organization, we have probably 70 employees part-time and full-time. Anybody's in our monthly staff meeting, I have a section called You're the CEO. And in that, I'll ask them a question that I might be struggling with, and I'll ask everybody in the room, think about this question and tell me how you handle it. And I get some great ideas from people who are at every level of the organization.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it's foolish to not listen to your team. They got their boots on the ground. They got their ear to the wall. They know what's going on. And so they've given me immense direction and wisdom and counsel about things I should be talking about, things we should be doing.
Nice.
Listen to the people around you, under you. Listen to your kids. Listen to your wife, your spouse. Yeah.
So let's talk about the infamous book,
Yeah, buddy.
Side Chickology.
Mm-hmm.
The title and the reason why you wrote the book.
Let's start with the reason why I wrote the book. I wrote it out of my life experience. I had been unfaithful to my wife, and the combination of that experience and what I learned from it, what I learned about me, and what I was seeing, this pattern, I started seeing a pattern, and it wasn't in just 8 out of 10 marriages or 9 out of 10 marriages, like 10 out of 10 relationships, I could see the same pattern. I can almost predict when somebody's about to cheat. Like the signs are just there in every relationship. I said, somebody need to talk about this. Like, how do these things? They're supposed to be a blessing, but they end up being the very thing to push you out. Like having kids, and then she don't have no more energy, or getting a promotion, and then he traveling, making more money, but got more access, or bigger house. We used to spend time together a lot. Now we got a bigger house. Now we working 2 jobs, working in the yard. He in the garage all the time. Like every blessing takes us like this. Like people don't necessarily intend to go that way, but it takes us somewhere else. And so I knew I needed to write about it because nobody was talking about why infidelity is happening. What's the psychology behind it? That's why it's called side chickology. It's actually a study of infidelity. Why it happens, how to avoid it, how to recover from it. Because like some people want, like, now that it's happening, should I even give this person another chance, whether it's my wife or my husband? And how do I know what should be in place to do it? So I think the combination of it led me to write. Another thing that motivated me to write, back in 2015, I preached a message called Side Chickology. And I just saw it in the Bible. And that was the most popular message probably in the history of our church.
Wow.
Like people just kept talking about it. Like I went to a church in Texas and did it. And that's all. Like that's when they see me, when I go back to Texas, that's Side Chickology. When you can come out of a book. So I spent 2 years writing it, trying to make it a story. Like not just talk about the details, the science of it, but I wrote an affair into the book. And by the way, on audio version, I got actors to act it out. So it's really cool for people who like listening to books. We got music playing, it's drama, some high scenes in there. It's pretty cool the way it was done. Yeah. Hey, you know what? The guy who's produced it, I never even thought of that. Yeah. It's not exactly trapped in the closet, but it's got that vibe.
Okay.
It keep you on like, yeah, man, it's deep. It's deep. Yeah.
So do you get any backlash from the book because you're so transparent?
Absolutely. I got preachers say, man, why you do that? Why you do that? But why? I said, some people ask me, did people leave your church behind it? I said, I never even thought of that. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like people say, oh, that's my pastor for real now. He been through that. But they see how much I love my wife and how much we've recovered. I never didn't love her. I just didn't feel loved. I didn't feel attention. Like we worked through all of that. Like we have a better marriage partly because of what happened. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I don't know. It's just not. It's not what people normally do. Like most pastors ain't gonna stand up there and say, "Y'all, look, I was unfaithful to my wife, and this is what I learned from it." Like they act like they ain't did it.
Right.
And I'm telling you, most men have cheated at some level, virtually, socially, flirted, hit something, prostitute, massage parlor, strip club. Somebody did something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all over the place. But I don't know why preachers act like, no, I've never done that. Like so, now I don't know. Yeah. So backlash. Yeah. Why you do that? To be honest, some of the backlash is, I think there are less places where I'm getting invited now.
Mm.
In case I bring it up, So I think I don't know. So I just I'm trying to not. I'm trying to think the best, but yeah, I think people. I mean, come on, you talk about this, talk about finances, talk about purpose, talk about dreams, talk about whatever. What you doing, man? You know what I mean? What you doing,
Get
man?
off course.
Yeah, what you doing, man? What you talking about, man? What you snitching for?
Right.
Yeah, because it is a snitch book. This is what's going on right here.
Straight up Steve Harvey.
Face down phone is a cover up.
Mm.
All that. I got all the moves.
Why you snitching?
I know. See? Yeah, why you snitching? Like, and the goal is to protect marriage. That's what I want to do, protect marriage. I come from a family of divorce. My mother and father together have been married 5 times.
Mm.
Like, out of the 14 children, my mother came from a family of 6, my father's family of 8. Only 3 of those 14 children had a marriage that lasted a lifetime. Well, we don't know. Only, it's still, the verdict's still out. But it was just divorce after divorce. Like, come on, man. Somebody keep this thing together. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you on the radio.
Yeah.
So I hear these messages sometime in the morning. So how did that come about?
Now, which one are you talking about? You talking about the sports messages?
Yeah, the sports messages.
Yeah. When sports meets life, like for me, I don't want to mess my mic up here. For me, I try to think of ways to reach people that don't go to church. So most men listen to sports talk radio or hip hop or R&B. So everything we on is on secular radio. I'm not on Christian radio. I'm not on praise or hallelujah station or anything. I try to go with hip hop, R&B, or sports. Not so much news, but so the idea when sports meets life is, if it's a sports station or it's a news moment, I wanted to catch somebody thinking about sports. Like, hey, did you see the Wimbledon match? So-and-so played down to the last minute. He's 37 years old. Most people thought he was washed up, but look at how he competed. Like, if you work at your craft and you put your all into it, you can be successful or something like that. In life, it's not about how old you are, it's about how hard you work or something like that. I'll try to put a principle together and just give people something to think about. And it caught on. Like, it was just really cool. So we talked about stuff from volleyball, the soccer, the hockey, because I'm a 3-sport guy. So it expanded my knowledge of sports, but it also gave us an opportunity to give life lessons through sports, which was really cool.
Okay, so how did you become the Wizards chaplain? And did you pray for some W's?
Nah, yeah, that's not working, right? In 2013, my pastor was the chaplain. He had been the chaplain for about 5 years. I think he started right after Gilbert Arenas left the team, somewhere around there. And he was doing chapel, but he was like, they had 41 home games. He would do like 10 because of his schedule. So I went to a game with him one time, and he's like, yeah, man, most of the games I can't even be here, so they don't have it. I said, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. Like, it didn't cross his mind. Like, so what he did was he let me do it in front of him. And the first chapel was OKC. So the first chapel, KD was in there. I didn't even know who James Harden was at the time. This is 2013-14, so he ain't the guy he is now. But Russ was in there, but I knew who KD was. and I did the chapel. I was nervous too, man. But I remember I preached on James chapter 1, and he said, man, you connected with them. And then what would happen was when I would go, he would trust me to do it while he wasn't there. But then what would happen is over the years, even when he would be there, he would come in. So I'm thinking he's going to do it. He said, nah, you do it. This your thing. That's the kind of heart he has. He says, so for 2 years, I assisted him. At the last game of the 2016-17 season, we were in chapel. He says, I'm on the way. Don't say nothing. Wait till I get there. So we all waiting in chapel. It was Garrett Temple, Bradley Beal. I think Kelly Oubre was in there. I think Rasul Butler was in there. I think that was before Rasul left to go to San Antonio. May have been Jared Dudley. I can't remember all the guys in there. I said, man, he told me not to say nothing until he got here. Because they waiting on a word. He pulls up like minutes before they about to go back to the locker room and play. And he pulls out his phone. He says he gave them all their attendance because he's so thorough. He keeps track of who was in chapel, who missed chapel, and all that. And then he says, now I just want to take a minute to thank Keith Battle for this year. Thank him, guys, for what he did for you. And he says, and he's your new chaplain. Wow. He didn't even tell me. Man, I almost cried, man. He's like, and then he says, now I'm going to assist you. So for the last 3 years, this is the third season, he's assisting me. So he just doesn't have the time. But, so I do most of them because I need something to do. And I love the game.
So for those that don't understand what a chaplain is, explain what your service is to the team.
That's a great question. People, what do you do? They think we just go in and pray. Right. We give a service before the game. So 1 hour before tip-off, we have a neutral area where both teams, coaches, trainers, anybody from any of the organization can come in and they have a church service. But we don't have music, we don't have musicians. I just preach. I give them a word. And it's only a 15-minute service, but that's all their attention span can handle anyway. And that's it. So what I do is I take prayer requests, I pray for them when they leave. I pray for them. But it's really much bigger than the game. So we ain't in there saying, can we win tonight? We in there talking about, man, can we walk in integrity? Can we stop getting texts? Can we be saved on the court too? We talking about real deep stuff like what we gonna do when we on the road? Like the dudes is coming in on the other team and said, now y'all know y'all on the road. What y'all's playing tonight? You gonna plan to lead DC with your integrity intact, or you gonna have somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we talk about real stuff. So the game is real small in that room. It's real deep what happens in that room when they come in there. They know, I don't know how they do it in other places. Like, that's really the consensus. All of us chaplains, we give them that word, and we challenge them about their integrity and their character. And we think it makes them better men and better players. Because it doesn't reduce their competitive nature. You should even be playing hard. You should play harder than everybody on the court because you play for God.
Right.
Like, it ain't just the name on your back that you're proud of or the name on the front. It's the name above every name that you represent. So, yeah, so that's one of the things we do. But beyond that, once you develop a relationship with players, they'll text you and say, hey, man, I'm going through something. Me and my girl or me and my wife going through something. Can you meet with us? So I do some of that. I work with them. During off season, I talk to them. So some of the players, I have a relationship that goes beyond the 15 minutes in chapel. We don't force that. We just try to be available for them.
Do a lot of the superstars attend chapel?
Yeah, a lot of them do. A lot of them do. Wow. Yeah, some of them don't. But a lot of them do. Yeah, it's amazing too because they could be getting treatment, they could be putting up shots, but they pause. Because, see, the difference between NFL, because I do NFL chapels too. Most NFL players, unless you're really famous, they don't have face recognition because they play with helmets on. These NBA guys can't just go to church without somebody trying to take pictures with them, get their autographs. So it's hard for them to go in church. So this is their church. They're in a room where nobody's trying to get their autograph, nobody's trying to take pictures with them. We don't want nothing from you. We want to give you something. So it's very important to them. So a lot of them, this is their church.